Good afternoon. Hi, it's John here. Happy birthday. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life, because every day is your birthday if you choose to celebrate life. And why wouldn't you want to celebrate life? I don't know. It's been an interesting day today. And it's been an interesting weekend for any England football fans, which we will get onto in a moment. But first of all, and we are going to talk about this cube as well, because it's very relevant and pertinent to the conversation we're going to have in a moment. Let me just make sure I've started my timer. But let's start off by saying happy birthday to a few people before we get into the content and the meat of this, along the lines of practice, and also to tell you why I'm in a weird location right now and I've had to move around a bit. But anyway, let's go happy birthday. Happy birthday to Robyn Piper, John Daly, not John Denley, Jason Conway, Chris Hitman, and Chris Hitman, I should say, all whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday to you today. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. And happy birthday to those people from yesterday, some of which are not English, so they won't they won't worry about this, but it would have been upsetting for anybody whose birthday it was yesterday, who ended up watching, who's English and watched the English football team last night not win the final. They did very well to get to the final, don't get me wrong on that. I'm very positive about that. And by the way, since we're starting off, in case anybody's just watching the beginning here, absolutely totally against any of the racist comments that's been happening. It's out of order, completely out of order, despite any comments you may have seen from me earlier, because I did post something which wasn't racist. It was just having a go at the people who missed the penalties, and there's a whole big conversation that happened with that, which a friend of mine from school, actually, Jeremy, caught me out on, and called me out on rather, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And also Wendy pointed out that in England we use practice as a verb and practice with an S as a verb in the UK, and practice with a C as a noun in the UK, whereas in America they use practice with a C for both of them, which was quite interesting as well, because I didn't know that's something I've learnt today as well. So thanks very much for that, Wendy. And happy birthday for people whose birthday it was yesterday. Kay Dudman, Lowell Hinkley, Lauren Charlotte, Suzanne Melbourne, Ailine Fisher, Bob Hanneman, Joanne Hale, and Simon Denyer. At least three of those I know are definitely English. One's German, one's American, and I think Lowell, you're Canadian. I'm not sure about Suzanne though. So anyway, happy birthday. I hope you all had a lovely weekend, whatever you were up to and whatever you were doing for the weekend. Yes, so I posted something this morning. I've made it private, so I don't get any more comments on it, because I was getting a bit of negative responses, even though it wasn't really a negative post. It was kind of a negative post. It was a reactionary post. 3 missed penalties. I was upset about that because of the fact that England tend to always lose on penalties. It's like, if you're going to get through to penalties, you should know that that's going to happen, and have practiced for it. Hence the practice comment. And everybody was coming back saying, yeah, I'm sure they practiced for it. They did lots of practice for it. They told us they practiced for it and everything. And it's like, well, yeah, okay, fine. But personally, from my perspective, and looking at people like Johnny Wilkinson and even David Beckham, somebody picked up on David Beckham missed a penalty. Yes, but it was the floor that missed, and so forth. Hello, Fran. But practice, because, and this is the thing, things go wrong, things don't work out the way you plan them to, and so forth. But as Gary Player said, which is the title of this one here, the more I practice, the luckier I get. So the better you are at something, the easier it becomes at achieving the result that you're trying to achieve. And so I would always say in a penalty scenario, just for completeness here, if you're practicing so that you can hit the top left-hand corner, like through a hula hoop that's stuck to the top right-hand corner or the top left-hand corner of the goal, if you can hit a ball through there every single time, and do a practice, for example, that says, I'm going to kick it through that hoop 10 times on the left and 10 times on the right in a row without missing before I go home. And if I miss one, I start from 0 again, just to prove to myself that I can do it every single time. Because of course the pressure ranks up. You missed it once, you do it 5 times and you miss one, and you start from 0 again. Now the pressure's even higher. And over time you get better and better at that, taking that pressure. It's classic Michael Jordan quotes. The more I practice, I practice more and more and more. I practice more than the other person. I can't remember if it was actually Michael Jordan. It might have been somebody else. Anyway, a famous basketball player basically just said, I practice 1 hour longer than any of my opponents, and that's why I'm better than them. So that's all I was really saying, is that we should have known that penalties were a likelihood. We should have practiced so that under any kind of practices, no matter how young and inexperienced you are completely confident you're going to knock up there, you're going to hit it in the top left-hand corner or the top right-hand corner, and if the goalie saves it, fantastic. Now, a couple of people have said that one of the the guys who missed or two of them actually were saved by the goalkeeper, and they did hit it on target. Go, yes, but they was down low. It wasn't that particularly hard, but at 3 feet higher, it would have been much harder for the goalkeeper to save it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, probably turned off a lot of people, probably get upset with these people, but listen to me, bear with me for a second here, because somebody was saying, what Jeremy was saying, he calls into question the things that I say on these lives, because I'm blaming them for not doing hard enough work, not working hard enough. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I'm suggesting that they should take more responsibility over making sure that those kinds of things don't happen. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. However, bad practice doesn't make perfect. Bad practice makes unhelpful habits, and that's what happens with us. Thanks, Jeremy, Mark, rather. Practice. You've got to practice good habits. So you've got to practice under pressure. You've got to practice things that make you think, get you over the point of that I might miss this, or I might make a mistake, and so forth. Now this is why I've got the cube with me here today, because of course I can't remember his name, this guy Jordan, another Jordan for some reason, weirdly. Can't remember his surname, on the UK The Apprentice show, and he said on his CV that he can do a Rubik's Cube in less than 3 minutes. And then the guy pulled out a mixed up Rubik's Cube and said, go on, then show me that you can do it in 3 minutes. And of course he couldn't do it under pressure, without practicing, without having done it for a while. He probably did it at 3 minutes when he was a child and hasn't done it for years and completely forgotten how you're supposed to do it. And I saw that and I thought to myself, crikey, I never want to be in that position again. Similarly, when I was in my IT career, I went into a presentation once, and I'd said to my co-presenter, we need to practice before we get there. And she said, no, it'll be fine. You just do the normal presentation. I was like, well, yeah, but I don't know what other people do when they're presenting. So I went in there, did my regular presentation. She asked me some questions in the meeting, and it all went a bit badly wrong. And I thought, right, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm going to make sure that never happens again. I'm going to make sure I'm ultimately completely practiced. I've been through everything. I know exactly how the software works. If anything goes wrong, I can turn it. And I used to regularly get in sales meetings, the customer would say, can you do this? And I say, oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Let's see, shall we? And then I'd go and do it. And of course, the salesperson would be horrified and thinking, oh my God, don't do anything that you don't know about. Of course, I knew what would happen because I practiced it, and I knew what was going to happen. I knew all the possibilities. I knew how the software worked. I knew in depth what was going to happen. So I knew it was going to be fine. But it made it look like, oh, the software works perfectly. Look, brilliant, fantastic. And we got a lot of sales as a result of that. One time I went to Japan and I spent hours preparing for a presentation, and then we had to change the software at the last minute. So I then, in the taxi on the way to the presentation with my CEO sitting next to me, I was changing things and practicing the thing and making sure it was working. 10 minutes before we called into the presentation in front of a board of CEOs from a Japanese pharmaceutical company, I said to him, it's all working, it's going to be fine. Just dropped my Rubik's Cube. I'm going to have to go and get that in a second. So again, practice, 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 making sure that you know how things are going to work. I'm just going to go and get my Rubik's Cube, honestly. And I'm back. Anyway, so yes, so, and that's why when I do all these things, I talk about becoming ace. So to become an aware ace, I talk about ace, no, the other way around, isn't it? A-C-E, there you go. Become ace, become aware of the problem, the potential difficulties, the potential pitfalls, the things that might cause you problems. Make a choice to do something about it, to change your path, do something new, and then put effort in over time. Practice, practice, practice to make sure that you embed these choices so that you never make those mistakes again. That's what I talk about for just overcoming bad habits and annoying habits and so forth, and overcoming your depression and anxiety. But it's the same for everything, because it's just rewiring your brain so that you don't have this pressure thing coming about. And then I also talk about this or and bed, or being ownership, accountability and responsibility. Now they are I'm certain they are taking accountability and responsibility and ownership, and even Gareth Southgate said, I take responsibility for putting those people in at the last 2 minutes to take penalties and so forth. And then below the line thinking is blame, excuses and what's D? Denial. And people were accusing me of saying, well, you're blaming them. It's like, yeah, but it's not my responsibility to take the penalties. So I might be blaming them for the result, but I'm not not blaming them personally. It's their responsibility to take hold of that. And this is a classic thing, because if somebody else is accusing you of something or blaming you of something, do you take on the responsibility for it? Well, maybe, if it is your responsibility, but if it's their responsibility, they should take the responsibility. It's not you who should take on the negativity for somebody else giving you bad vibes. We talk about all the things that are on here, shielding yourself from negativity. all these kind of things. This is all stuff that I talk about that makes perfect sense in the scenario, but you have to see the full picture, you have to see the bigger picture. And so yeah, going back to the cube again, I wanted to make sure that when I was in a sales meeting, not a sales meeting, a networking meeting, or if I was ever called upon in front of people, in front of a TV audience, for example, and somebody was just going to give me a messed up Rubik's Cube just like this, that I would just be able to do it. So somebody else is doing this messed up Rubik's Cube. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Sometimes I do a sort of magic trick thing version where I'm actually making sure I do it correctly. But I promise you I've messed this up completely at this point. And I'm now going to solve this cube. Now, I can do this in about 60 seconds. I would never say to somebody under pressure I can do it in 60 seconds, because that's ridiculous, because sometimes it takes me 1 minute and 15 seconds. But I can fairly certain I can do it in 90 seconds comfortably if I'm focusing every single time. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody like I'm doing with you now, I want to make sure that I can do this in less than 2 minutes quite comfortably, and I'm pretty sure I can do it every single time in less than 2 minutes. I can certainly complete it even if it takes me a little bit longer than 2 minutes. But of course what I'm also doing is I'm talking to you about what I'm doing at the same time, and so I'll talk about how I'm setting up the cross on the top here, putting that together like this. There we go, there's a cross on the top there, and then I can say, well, I'm now putting the colours around the side of that top cross, whilst I'm also putting the white pieces in the right places as well. So that's what's happening here. You can see the white pieces coming together there, like that. So now the top side is done and the colours around the side are done. And this, I've practiced this so many times that this is not even a problem. I can do this while I'm talking to people. I'm not even looking at the cube, as you'll see, at certain paces. I'm checking out where I am or what's the next move that I need to do, but I'm not really looking at the cube, because I know so well, having practiced it so many times, that this is not an issue. This is not an issue for me at all. I'm doing the second layer right now, and there is a second layer. It's now done. You can see it's all done through there. Now I'm going to move on to the bottom layer. I quickly looked and saw a horizontal line there, so I now know exactly what move I need to do for that. So I can just do that move without looking at it. I'm just going to line up one thing and then see what needs to happen now. Now I know what next move is going to be, because I've practiced it so many times. And now I've lined up the cross with the pieces around the outside. I happen to have got one corner done. That's perfect. That's actually brilliant. And now I'm in a situation where I've just looked at one corner here, and I know where that piece is going to go. So now I know the moves to get to that corner. It's the same moves over and over again. I've made it really simple, so it is easy to do these moves over and over and over again and make it simple. And now I've just got these last two pieces to do. So as you can see, this is something that I've practiced a lot very easily, so that I can do it in less than 2 minutes. So that should be about 2 minutes, and I've finished the cube. And I was talking to you the whole time and showing you what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. And because it's not, I don't have to remember anything, because I've done it so many times. It's become muscle memory. It's really easy to do, even under massive amounts of pressure. And that was my point. I knew this could be a problem at some point in the future. This is a problem that I needed to solve and avoid in some point in the future. So I put the practice in. I was aware of the issue. I was aware of the issue. I made a choice to put some practice in and learn new ways of doing it, simpler, easier ways of doing it, so I don't really have to remember anything. And then I put in effort over time and practice it. And I probably do a cube every day, not because I feel like I have to, but just because it's kind of fun just to mess one up and play with it. I kind of use it as when I've got 5 minutes spare, just for a bit of fun. But that's my point. That's all the point I was making, really, is if you practice something often enough, it becomes so simple that the pressure doesn't come into it at all. Practice, 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 all the time. And that's what happens to us as well with the psychology. We practice negative habits. We practice negative thinking on a regular basis because our brains are wired to do that automatically. But if we can switch that and change it into a positive thinking and think positively about these things. Hello viewer, by the way, I couldn't see who that was, but thanks for the thumbs up. Oh, Chris Taylor. Hello, Chris. How you doing? This is going to be on Instagram a little bit later on. But if we practice positive thoughts instead of negative thoughts, then we'll get better and better at them. They will become automatic. And then we won't automatically default into this negative thinking and negative thoughts. And then we'll have a better, more positive mental health as a result. Hope I haven't turned anybody off. I hope I've explained my position on the football better than I did in my one-line post earlier on, which is now private, so I've made it private. Again, once again, just want to make sure that I make it very clear that racism is wrong in any way, shape or form. The abuse that's been going on is horrific and horrible, and they shouldn't be attacked for what they did. It's their responsibility for taking action going forward, and I hope that when we get to the World Cup, either we'll avoid penalty shootouts completely by just being a better team, or we'll have practiced them so well that we can hit the top left-hand corner or the top right-hand corner at power and make sure that the goalkeeper couldn't possibly stop it. And even if they did, we go, well, that was a brilliant penalty, goalkeeper was just better. Simple as that. Right, that's all from me for now. I'm going to send you some love. Send you back in the world. Oh, just briefly, you can probably hear the children running in the background. I was in the amphitheatre. This is the Cirencester Amphitheatre, and then a whole bunch of children came on a school trip into there, so I had to move. And then I went and sat over there, and then I sat almost in some dog poo. So I had to move, and here I am. And this is quite cool because I've got my hoodie hung over a branch, and my phone is sat in the hood of the hoodie, which kind of works. So that's kind of nice as a tripod in a way. Okay, that's all from me. I've probably just about overrun my time for Instagram, and I'll see you guys later. I'm open to comments on this one because I've actually done the full thing, but please watch the whole video if you're going to make a comment about it. Thanks very much indeed. Take care, guys. Have a lovely Monday, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.